This is your one and only FireSpark81 with your daily dose of video goodness, and today we are going to take a look at some beginner tips and tricks for the new game Humankind. Let's get to it. Okay, so we're in a fresh new game here. This is the very first turn. When you are first starting out, you have nothing. You are just a single tribe of nomadic people. You can be wiped out really easy. If all of these people die, you lose. You don't want that to happen. So you want to grow this tribe as quickly as possible. And in order to do that, you need food. And in order to get food, you need to hunt. So what you want to do is just kind of start exploring around looking for food. Now, you also need science. Science is going to advance your culture as a whole. And we'll talk about that more here in a minute. But first thing I'm going to do, and don't ever click this. We'll talk more about this in a second too. Don't ever click this for your first tribe. Make sure you're managing your first tribe. The other thing you want to do when you're moving around, you want to try to cover as much ground as possible. Now, I made a mistake going through this way. I probably should have come over here, but it looks like we got woods over here too. Yeah, no matter what, I'm going to have to go through a wooded area. But if you take a look here, this forest, its base movement speed is 2. If we take a look at the stone field though, its base movement speed is 1. So it's better when we're first starting out if we try to mitigate how much movement speed we're using each turn and stick to tiles with lower movement speed costs, because that's going to allow us to cover more ground faster. And it looks like right here we got a little bit of dry grass. We're going to come over here and grab that at the end of the next turn. You can see that that gave us a bunch of food there, and it's already started to produce another set of units, and that's what we're after here, and that's what we want to get up and running as quickly as possible. Now, we're in a sanctuary area, and it just spawned a mammoth here. If I highlight over it, you can see we're probably going to lose that fight. This is our beginning people. I'm not going to try to fight that mammoth. We're going to continue to move on. Now, here we have a fight we can definitely win. We're 10 of 8. We should come out victorious on this. We're going to start a fight. I'm just going to do instant resolution. You can see we took a little bit of damage there. We lost some units, but we're okay overall, and we got a little bit more food. Now, this has popped up for me every time, and I don't know if these little pop-up things here follow a specific pattern or if they're random, but the 3 times that I have played this, I've gotten this relatively early. When this pops up, just choose Chase. This is going to give you a new army of refugees next to your hunting party. You will get plenty of other options for this stuff later here, and that's not that big of a deal, and you really don't need it this early on. This is going to be better for you. So pick this, get your new army. Here we go. We just got our new group here. Now, with this new group, what I'm going to do is just set them to auto-explore and forget about them. They're going to handle the rest. And I just got enough food to get another tribe of people. Now we're looking pretty good. Now we're not going to die instantly if we lose our initial tribe. So what I'm going to do is actually click on multi-selection here. I'm going to grab this set of people here, and I'm going to split them away from the main tribe here. So now we have a secondary tribe, and then just let them auto-explore and forget they exist. Now we're going to talk about setting up your first base, and this is by far one of the most important decisions you are going to make in this game. You want to make sure that you have plenty of industry and food near your first setup. Now, I know there's other systems in this. You need gold, you need science. Both of those things, they're totally a thing. But when you're first starting out, don't worry about those. Those come into play later on, and the most important thing for you when you're starting out a new civilization is to make sure that you have a lot of food followed by a decent amount of industry. So what we're going to do is we're going to click claim territory, and we're just going to mouse around this area and take a look. If you look right above here, I can't point to it, but that little flag that pops up above there, it says +4 food, +4 industry in this area. If I do not build any type of additions onto the city, so no farms, no nothing like that, that's what I'll get every turn. If we take a look over here, you can see this one's going to give +20 food, +6 industry. This one's going to give +18, +4. But also, you want to take a look at height and elevation plays a role in how defensive your city can be. So elevation is better than being down like this, because what can happen is we can get attacked from above. So if we take a look up here, you can see that this one actually has 13 food and 6 industry. That's actually pretty good. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click away from that, and we're going to have our army come over this way. And we're gonna see if we can work our way up here to this plateau. This is another one that I've gotten every single time, so I'm gonna point it out. Pick this. This is going to get you +2. Food on your city or outpost. Food is good. You need food. You need a lot of food from the get-go, so just pick this. All right, so we're up here at this plateau. We can see a little bit better now. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this around. So that's gonna give me 13, 11, 13, 14 on this one. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go for this one here. We have elevation, we have 14 and 6 industry. That should be more than enough to get us started. So we're just gonna click that and then end the turn. We've now hit the point where we're gonna choose a new culture. So we're gonna come over here to our culture and we're gonna click choose. And as you can see here, only one AI has beat us to the punch here. The others have not. I highly do not advise picking any of like the war type tribes. So like these guys here, and don't worry, you can change this later. It's not the end of the world if you pick one that you don't really want. So if you want to play a warring type people, don't pick it from the get-go unless you're super familiar with the game. Once again, this is a beginner's guide, so you're obviously not going to be super familiar, and picking a warring tribe can make things extremely difficult on you. So while I advise this one because you gain stability and you gain population easily, and that can help you with your food management, it looks like this one has already been taken. So we are going to go with the Egyptians because as you can see, they also gain 10 stability when completing a district construction. Now, when you complete a district construction, you lose 10 stability. So this basically just cancels that out for you, which helps ensure that your cities stay stable. Now, at this point, your first tribe that you had that you used to set up your city may have only 1 or 2 units in it, depending on how much food and stuff you ran across on the way to get to where you are settling. I ran across enough food to make a second set of people here, so I'm just going to leave them on top of my city. We're just going to click this and we're going to station them right here. Now it's not going to ask me to do anything with them because this is where they're stationed at, so I can just click in turn and just keep clicking in turn. So now our outpost is done. We can turn it into a city. We definitely want to do that. All right, now we have our city. Now what's interesting is if you look up here, we do not have any population in our city right now. We are making 17 food every turn, 11 industry, 3 money, and 3 science every turn. What we want to do is quickly ramp up food production as much as we possibly can. So we're gonna come over here to progression and we're gonna click on our text screen. And the first thing we're going to research is calendar because it's super important to have the calendar. And then we're going to queue up domestication and irrigation. These are going to get you bonuses for food production. Now, I would say also do fishing, but if we take a look here, we're not next to anywhere. Well, I mean, I guess we could end up maybe doing fishing down here. Depending on where you're at, doing fishing can be good as well. We could maybe get some fishing done in here, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to let these do what they do. We're just going to let the science happen. Now, take the tribe of people that you have. Once again, could be 1, 2, 4, however many you have there. Click on the individual unit itself, and then you click disband. It's going to pop up the little box asking you if you're sure you want to. Now, because they are on top of your city, they become population inside of your city. This increases your amount of food production. If we move them over here, you can see now we're only getting 8. But if we move them here, we're getting 14. And I think, what was it before? 11, something like that. Do this with however many you have. Now, when we move them around here, you can see now we're getting 12 over here on food because we have both of them on food. But what we want to do is move one of those over to science. This is going to help to increase our science and get this stuff researched faster. Now, if I move another one over here, you can see we're actually not producing any food and we're at a 0 state per turn. That's actually not bad. As long as this is not in the negatives, you are good. We'll talk about why you want it to be and the positives in a second. So since I can move these over here and I'm making enough food to handle the population I have, essentially this city will just not grow. And that is fine because we're focused on science right now, which will let us ramp up that research for increased food production. So your city can't just not do anything. You have to be doing something. And the first thing we're going to do is build a farmer's quarters. This is going to increase how many people you can have over here here working on food production. So that's the first thing we're going to build. And if you take a look here, each of these tiles that you highlight over, it shows you how much food it's going to make. So if we look at this one, we're going to lose 2 industry, but we're going to gain 4 food. I highly advise not building over any of the things that are going to cause you to lose stuff. So we don't want to lose any of the industry that we're creating. So if we take a look at this one, we can build on this one. This one's going to give us 5 food. Well, actually, it's going to move this up to a rating of 5 and give us +8. So we are actually going to click that and allow that to happen. You can see here, this is going to take 6 turns because we're only getting 11 industry each turn and we need a total of 63, but that's fine. We're in no rush for this. Right now, we're all about that science. Okay, we've completed the calendar. It was relatively quick and easy because we have everything focused on science. And now we can go ahead and queue up the granary. You want to do this because this is going to increase your food production per farmer. So you can see there that the effects this will have, I speak all the time. The effects this will have is +2 food per farmers. Plus we also get an additional farmer slot. We definitely want all of that. Now, that's going to take a hot minute because we are still producing our farm over here, but that is fine. Don't feel like you need to do something every single turn. Right now, all I'm doing is waiting for this to get done. My scouts are out running around. I don't have to worry about them. All I'm doing is just clicking in turn over and over and over again until this is done while watching this up here to make sure that this is not going down and we're not losing any food for whatever reason. Okay, so our first farm is done and we are now working on the granary, and you can see now we went from 0 food to producing 9 food each turn. All right, so now I need to point out what happened here. So we were making 9 food, the bar filled up, we gained an additional person, we're now making 7 food. This is the balance that you have to play in this game. So you need people in order to make units. As if you take a look here, this is going to cost us 45 industry, and it's going to cost us 1 of our population. Same thing with these guys, 45 industry, 1 of our population. You can see right now they do have an upkeep depending on what the unit is, depends on what the upkeep the unit has. Scouts don't have any upkeep. When you take 1 of your population and you convert it to a unit, it no longer draws on your food. It'll instead have an upkeep cost. Well, these don't, your scouts don't, but other things will have an upkeep cost and start drawing on your money. Now, why is this important? This is important because there's going to be situations where you need to get population out of your city so that it's not drawing on your food, because your city is going to continue to grow as long as it is in the positives of food and continue to create population. The more population you have, the less food you produce each turn. What you can do though is you can store population in the form of scouts on top and around your city. And then if for whatever reason you need them for, say, to convert them to another unit or whatever, you can just disband them and they will go back into your city. But what's important to note about that strategy is that that takes time. As of right now, we are not producing a lot of industry every turn, so making a scout takes 5 turns for us. If I can't get enough of my population converted to scouts in time, I will start to lose population in my city because I will start to lose food. Now, you can move your population around. So if we move over 1 of our science people over to here, you can see we're now making 13 food instead of 7. I can store up to 3 of them over here because I have 3 slots for farmers, and that'll give me 19 food each turn. I can also take this little guy here and move this guy over to industry. This is going to slow my food production down to 1, which is good because you have to be careful about your population growth in your early cities. I'm going to move this guy over to industry. This is going to increase how fast this gets made. If you take a look over here, it's going to take me 15 turns, but if I move this guy over here and I'm getting 7, it is now going to take me 10 turns. If I grab one of my science guys over here, this will now take 8 turns. Now we're at a situation where we can really start to ramp up our growth. So I'm going to drag these guys over here like this. You can see this is going to give us 30 food per turn. So this is going to, every 3 turns, we're going to get an additional population. So we completed enough turns and made enough food that we ended up with another unit. And when that happens, make sure that they're going towards industry. You can select your policies. So like city growth, it's going to put them where they go here, economics, public control. I highly advise just leaving it on balanced and then handling it yourself. Once you set it up, it will only add new units to that. So it's going to auto balance new units or new population for you. It won't go back through and change anything you have done yourself. Something else to keep in mind is you want to keep things kind of clumped together. So if we take a look here at the industry, you can see this one will get 4, but this one also, by building it here, bumps this one up from 3 to 4. And then if I were to build another one over here, it would do the same. Okay, we're almost done. There's a few other little tips I have here. You can see here, we're in a situation where we're getting 19 food and it's slowly going down. We have a lot of population in this city. I'm going to pull one of my units out here, and you can see this guy here. We just finished upgrading or researching the stuff that I can actually make fighters now. This is going to cost me 1 population. It's going to cost me 90 industry to produce him, and he's got an upkeep of 1 gold. If we highlight over our money, you can see we have current upkeep army cost of -4, and we're only producing 3 each turn. So I'm actually going to drag these science guys over here. Now we're at +11. So you got to make sure you manage that if you are producing things that take a cost. Now we've picked up a few while we were out and about. That's why we have that cost now. Now it pulled that guy from my money people over here. So what I'm actually going to do is grab one of my farmers and drag that one over here. Now we're still at 11 food, so we're fine. And then we got another population and we produced a unit. So he just got instantly replaced. Now, what I can do is actually take these scouts that I made earlier and I can disband them. That's going to put the scouts back into here. And then we're going to convert those scouts into warriors as well. And I'm going to drag this science guy over to here so that he's producing more industry. Now, if you have enough gold that you can take a loss for a few turns, you can actually take a loss. Well, if I drag him over there, we're at 0, so we're canceling it out, which is fine. But you can also take a little bit of a loss. Just make sure that you put them back over here when you're done. So we created that guy. Now we're going to drag this guy back over here. So that puts us back at 5. Now we have 2 fighters. They're stationed here. They're just hanging out. They're going to protect our city for whatever we need them for. But something else that they can do is actually create expansions for us. So what we're going to do is select them or tell them that they don't have to be stationary anymore. And there's coffee over here and I want it. So what I'm going to do is just claim this territory over here so that I can claim this coffee. So we're just going to tell them to come over here and claim that. Don't be afraid to expand with these little territories. These little territories will gain and lose food and whatever, but you can kind of just leave them to do their thing and extract resources. So I'll show you here once we get it going. When you have little expansions like this, you can easily collect resources that are nearby. That's why it's good to expand like this. Now it will cost you a little bit of influence, but it's not much. So you can see I can place one of these here for 53 and we can come over here and do the same. Now, like I said, these little cities, they have their own. You can't really manage them. This one's just producing 6 food every turn and 18 industry and 4 money. So they do actually produce a little bit of money for you, which is a good thing. And you can get these resources which can help you produce other things in the long run. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. Hopefully you found this helpful and informational. I know it's kind of different from what I normally do for tips video, but this is a really involved game. So hopefully you understand how to manage your city a little bit better now. You can see I've got this one ramped up to the point where we're making 45 food every turn, which is basically giving us a unit, every 2 turns we're getting a new unit, which I am then converting to one of these guys because we're going to war, so we need to keep doing that. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video and found it informational. If you did, consider hitting the subscribe button, notification bell, all that good stuff so you can be notified when I upload other videos like this. That is going to wrap it up for this episode. I just want to give an absolutely massive shout out and thank you to my supporters on Patreon for making this episode possible. Y'all are absolutely amazing people. If you'd like to join my 𝐴𝐿𝐸 Patreon supporters, please check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and show your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.